What's amazing about how much evil there is in the world and how much bad that's going on, and when you look at your own life and the problems that you have and the hard times that you have, what you come to realize is that evil only exists within each one of us. It's not out there somewhere. It's not like there's Satan floating around causing people to do evil. It's already in people. People have the capacity to be evil. And that's where Satan exists. And seemingly Satan has so much power. The devil has so much power because everybody has that potential. And it's everywhere, it seems. It's everywhere. Everywhere you go now, it seems like, I think it seems like it's getting worse as well. And maybe that's the media, maybe that's the news. We don't know. It seems that way. But the crazy thing is, the devil only has as much power as you give him. And like I said, the devil's not out there. He's in the minds of everybody. And the only way he communicates with people is through thought and imagination. That's the only way. The only way that he gets reaction from people is if you engage with him. When we look at this from a biblical standpoint, the idea of Jesus and the devil, good versus evil, it's fascinating because in the Passion of the Christ, the whole time Satan is there. The whole time. He's watching. And he's constantly talking to Jesus. And Jesus doesn't respond. He just doesn't talk to him. So you think, well, what does that mean? Now, I'm not saying whether I'm religious. I'm not saying whether I'm a Christian or anything here. I'm not going to go down that road. I'm not going to label myself here or anything. It's just a very interesting lesson that we can learn from what it means to just ignore the devil. Because he is in us. He's in all of us. The difference is, and this is the point I want to make, is that he only has the power that you give him. He doesn't have any power. The devil doesn't have any power. Evil doesn't have power. It only has power over you if you engage with it, if you listen to it, if you believe it, if you bargain with it, if you negotiate with it. You don't negotiate with the devil. Don't talk to him. You just listen and watch, but don't negotiate, don't engage. He will talk to you through your thoughts. He'll tell you that you're better than others, or that you're no good, or that you should be afraid. And he's doing a pretty good job right now. Look at the Middle East. What's going on over there? He's winning. People are engaged with that. That's exactly what he wants. Ironically, it's all coming from religion, right? So the devil doesn't have any power. Technically, he doesn't have any power. And to go even deeper, God gave you everything you need to ignore him. That's what the light is. Everybody has the light inside of them. And I think that's what the self is. I call this self-led confidence, the channel. That's what I believe it to be, the light of God. You have that in you. Now we can argue that you're inherently bad. If you're a Christian, you would say that you're inherently bad. You have original sin. I would go further than that and say, no, I think everyone's inherently good, but they have the potential, but everybody has that potential to be evil within them, within their heart. That's why you have to turn yourself over to God. That's what God meant by that. Because he gave you that power. He gave you that light. It's just engaging with the devil. That's where the evil shines through, because you engage with him. He doesn't have any power. You can't do anything bad from just thinking. But if you engage with those thoughts and you act because of those thoughts, God's not telling you to do anything through thought. God doesn't speak to you through thought. God speaks to you through silence. When you're observing the thought, you're just watching the devil, and he hates it. That's why the devil hates you being present. He hates you being alive. He doesn't want that. He wants you to isolate. He wants you to live in fear. He wants you to be angry. He wants you to have an ego or an attachment to your ego, more likely. So don't engage with it. Just watch. And if you do sin, as they say, miss the mark, whatever sin, however you want to define sin. I think for me, the biggest sin is to believe that you are real, to believe that you are God, that you have control. That's the devil's greatest trick, is to trick you into believing that you are God. That's ego. That's where all the trouble comes from. And it's so clever. Because if you think about the devil in that way, you'll realize that you have it in you. And that's the first step, is to realize it's in you. Before you judge other people, you have to see it in you. And that's when you drop your weapons, you drop your guard, you open your heart. And that's where strength comes from. Strength comes from vulnerability. It doesn't come from being defensive. Being defensive is of the devil. It's of the ego. It doesn't mean you don't defend yourself. That's not what I'm saying. It means you go beyond that sense of self that's fake, that false self, which causes all the problems, or the attachment to it, essentially. That's where the problems come from. So it's the devil that's doing this, and the trick is to know he's always there. He doesn't take time off. He's always there. He's always going to tempt you. That's never going away. So to be still and to be present and to watch and to take every thought into captivity. That's what God said. Take every thought into captivity. You're not your thoughts. All of your thoughts are lies. They tell you you're good. They tell you you're bad. They tell you this person doesn't like you. They tell you a woman doesn't like you. All in your head. So you act because of these thoughts. Thoughts are useful for practicality. If you want to buy a plane ticket, if you want to build a house, if you want to solve a maths problem, that's great. We're very good at that. But we can't turn off thoughts. So we have to know and discern which thoughts we need. And 99% of thoughts are just evil, telling you that you should be somebody. The trick is, though, when you drop that attachment, that's when you become somebody. That's when you actually become a force for good. Because it's not from a place of you, the little you, the ego, which believes it's separate. No good can come from that. Good doesn't come from ego. Now you can argue, yeah, people are like doing good things because they're giving, but they just want to be seen as good on some level. You have to drop thoughts about that as well. Drop any attachment to identity completely. That's when the goodness will come through you. But if it's coming from a place of mind, it's evil. That's the only way to put it. Harsh wording, but it makes a point. That's the point. You have to see it in you before you see it in others. I'll finish with one quote by Alexander Solzhenitsyn that really makes this point. That even though the devil seems to have all of this control, it seems to be out there causing havoc, the devil doesn't have any control. The devil doesn't have any power. You only give him power because you engage with him. And I think this quote sums it up perfectly. And it's my favorite quote. Let me put it up now. Let me just read it. So Alexander Solzhenitsyn said, "The line separating good and evil passes not through states, nor between classes, nor between political parties either, but right through every human heart, and through all human hearts. This line shifts inside of us. It oscillates with the years. And even within hearts overwhelmed by evil, one small bridge end of good is retained." It's in everybody. And one last thing, you cannot judge other people. Spot that judgment in yourself. That is just as bad as what they're doing. You are a judger. You are judging people. You are just as bad as the murderer. Anyway, that's how you overcome this inside of you. You just watch. That's why meditation is so powerful. You got to be still. You got to be silent. And that's when you're with God. You're not acting through your mind. If you're acting through your mind, you're acting through evil. That's why you need to use your mind, not let your mind use you. That's why you meditate. That's why you stay silent. That's why you stay still. Anyway, I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. If you enjoy this sort of content, subscribe, like, comment. What do you think below? See you in the next video.